Well, you should be happy because it doesn't take away from your face beauty.
No, but I mean, put on a good 80 pounds. But she's like, you know, I'm gonna be, but I didn't get it. Mistake.
She's still there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's great. Yeah. She has a lot of connections.
This is a cake.
Cake's focus, yeah. Custom design, but this is an example of the cake with our buttercream. It's chocolate chip. Yeah. Please feel free to try some. It's got styrofoam in place where the cake would be, and then it's also got supports that are not edible, but the icing is all edible.
Party, full into Krav Maga, and we're doing a presentation today on how to sell Tupperware for fun and profit. Just kidding, just kidding. Avon next. This is actually, this is one of my favorite lectures to give. You're going to learn something really interesting about your body today and some strategies to slow down aging. Who's that actress? Goldie Hawn. This is her in the 60s. This is her today at 70 years old. So that's what we want to look like when we're 70, right? It takes a little effort. And what is that effort? And why do we have to put the effort in? So, has anybody studied physics here? Know the law of entropy? Right? It's the second law of thermodynamics. And basically it says that the natural state of all matter is decomposition. It just is. That's just a fact. If you leave a piece of steel out on the street, what's going to happen? It's going to rust. That's oxidation. That's decomposition. If you take some effort and you put oil on that steel, then it's going to last many, many more years, right? And so we're basically the same thing. The natural state of our body is aging and decomposition. On a biological level, this is the key factor in it. Who's here has heard of a telomere? A few people. Great. You're ahead of the curve. So a telomere is what's on the end of our DNA. And if you think about DNA, a strand of your chromosomes, think of a shoelace. And on the end of the shoelace, you have these caps. The longer the cap, the healthier the DNA is. Every time we go through cell division, it gets a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller until the cell dies. So the science of aging now is almost completely focused around how to keep the telomeres as long as possible. And that basically controls your aging. And we're going to get into that, some of the factors that affect the telomeres. So, we want to turn back that clock. And I want to make a distinction here between primary aging and secondary aging. So primary aging is pretty much what you've inherited from your parents. That genetic sequence that you've inherited from your parents. And they used to think back in the day that this is what really controlled aging. But now as we've progressed in science and we know more on a cellular level, we know it's actually secondary aging that controls 90% of our aging. And secondary aging is lifestyle factors. Do you smoke? Are you stressed out? Are you the right weight? Are you exercising? Do you take care of your bone and joints? Do you eat good food? These are all the issues that will determine 90% of your aging. So, and that's what today's lecture is about, because if you can control 90%, hey, that's pretty good. So we're going to give you some more control of that today. The story of Muhammad, not the prophet of Islam. This was actually a patient who came into my office. He didn't look like this, but I am in the Tenderloin. It could have been, but this guy, he comes in, he was from a motor vehicle accident, and he walked with a cane, he was hunched over, he had a bald head, few strands of gray hair. You know, I thought the guy was like in his 70s, and he sits down and I look at his birth date, and it's 3 years from mine. He was 3 years older than me. That freaked me out. I was like, hey, did you mean to write this year? I'm not going to tell you what year that is. And he was like, yeah, that's right. And I was like, whoa. You know, this guy has had a hard life. And that's what I mean, those secondary aging factors. The guy, grew up in Yemen. you know, in kind of farming conditions. He had diabetes, he had high blood pressure, and it aged him. It prematurely aged him. At 65, what do you want to look like? Is anybody old enough to know who she is?
No.
Oh, come on.
Bionic woman.
Bionic
Yes, thank you! Lindsay Wagner! Wonder Woman! She sells Sleep Number beds now. Well, okay, she's 65 years old, and so is this woman. So it just gives you kind of a dramatic example, like how different you can look at the same age from another person.
Well, one dye her hair, the other one doesn't.
Yes, ma'am, that is probably true. So secondary aging factors. This is what we're going to cover really fast today. You know, what you're eating, how sedentary or active you are, and how are you taking care of your body now, and how are you taking care of the mobility of your joints. Does anybody know what this is? Nancy, don't say I know you know Latin. Does anybody know? Does anybody else study Latin? Who knows what this is?
No, I don't know.
What goes in comes out?
Garbage in, garbage out. Right. So that's actually that's actually an axiom of the computer world. And that's where that started. You know, if you put garbage programming into the computer, you're going to get garbage out of it. But the same thing is true with our bodies. Unfortunately, this is what most of America looks like and eats, right? This is our American diet. And I really shouldn't tell this story, but I'm going to. I was just last weekend, I was down in LA visiting with my brother and his wife and their 2 little kids, and you don't get like more of a prototypical American family than that. And in the morning, his wife got up and she went to McDonald's to get us breakfast. I didn't know. She comes back and she's like, hey, I got you this, you know, McBreakfast. And I was like, oh, hey, thank you. Yeah. Thank God they have a really hungry German Shepherd that always hangs out with me. So I was just like, I can't eat that crap.
That is what I need to the German Shepherd.
I know, but I apologize to Athena. I said, don't eat this unless Auntie's here, okay? Yeah, but I mean, this is what America, this is what Americans eat. You know, and especially, okay, I'm going to embarrass my wife. Oh, right there.
Hey, go for it.
You know, her family's in the Midwest. And it's like, oh my God, when we go to the Midwest, you know, they think a fruit and vegetable serving is like the pickle on the hamburger, you know? So we're a little ahead of the curve here in California. Okay, I love this quote. The food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. And for most Americans, it's the slowest form of poison. So I give like a whole lecture, an hour-long lecture on this, and this is like super fast. It's like 20 minutes, so I'm going to keep it quick. But like, what do you really not want to eat that's ubiquitous in our American diet? High fructose corn syrup, that's almost in everything. It's a really cheap sweetener. It's so hard to get this out of your diet. This is like the hardest thing that you're going to try to get out of your diet because it's really in everything. And why is it such a bad thing? It puts weight on you disproportionate to its caloric value. Okay, it's because it's a completely synthetic chemical. When it hits the liver, it is stored as fat right away. Okay, it's just a synthetic sweetener that fattens people. Refined flour, that causes your glucose levels to spike, so does high fructose corn syrup. We don't want that. It also dunks up your intestines, so you don't really absorb your food quite as well, and you don't have the motility in the intestine. Trans fats, which will never say trans fats on a label. It'll say partially hydrogenated, fill in the blank. Partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil, vegetable oil. So these are fats that have been heated to a super high temperature. The actual molecular structure of the fat has flipped from this to this, from a cis to a trans, and it's super stable. That's why they want to use it in a lot of foods, because it extends the shelf life of food. It'll make a fat a solid at room temperature, and really they clog our arteries, and they actually play a part in the brain that I don't have time to tell you about right now, but it also kind of dumbs down people. So it's something that you really want to work hard to avoid in your diet. Aspartame, okay, that's NutraSweet, right? I don't think you can buy a pack of gum. I have yet to find one pack of gum at Walgreens that doesn't have aspartame in it. Aspartame is another sweetener that has 0 calories, but it's super toxic. It's a completely synthetic product. Every single study done on this sweetener, not funded by the food industry, has shown that it is toxic to human health. Yet it got through the FDA. And then just highly processed foods. So anything that you're taking out of a box and you're, a flavor packet and adding some water to it, that's not really what you want to be eating. So what's some things that we do want to eat? This sticker, if you see this on a box of pasta or bread, a bag of bread, you want that. That's the whole grain. And a whole grain, there's really good things. There's vitamin A, there's vitamin E, there's the whole bran, there's fiber. So look for this thing, okay, this stamp. And you don't have to go to some exotic grocery store. Safeway has lots of products. Well, I won't say lots of products. Let's just say 1/8 of their products maybe has this stamp on it. Because I think of shopping at Safeway like shopping at Ross. It's like there's good things there, but you gotta pick through a lot of stuff to find the good things.
Very.
So what should you be eating? And here's the distinction. Really, this is so simple. It's between live food and dead food. So let's just say I had on my kitchen counter a tomato and a can of tomato soup. Okay, a tomato is gonna, in a week later, that tomato is gonna have rotted, right? The can of tomato soup, that's gonna taste the same 2 years from now, right? The tomato is live food. The faster general rule of thumb, the faster a food will spoil, the better it is for you. As many fruits and vegetables as you can possibly eat, that's what you want your main diet to be of. And then this was a really interesting study that came out in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, and this is a really well-reviewed, peer-reviewed journal, and it showed you how does it actually affect your lifespan eating fruits and vegetables.
Is that per day?
Yes, it is per day. But a serving is actually very small. It's not even like a whole apple, it's like maybe like a half an apple. So it's really not hard to do. Okay, and then people always ask me about vitamins. And what vitamins should I be taking? And it's true, we actually have to take vitamins right now. We do have to take vitamins. The journal again, another study in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that all the fruits and vegetables we eat now have about 20% of the nutrients that our grandparents' fruits and vegetables did. Why is that? Because of GMO and because everything is grown really big, really fast in today's agriculture, and it doesn't have time to absorb the nutrients from the soil. So you've got to take a vitamin. And here's just the basic. A good quality multivitamin, omega-3 fatty acids. Has anybody not heard of omega-3s? You would have had to have lived in a cave, right? Because they do amazing things for us. They keep you from forming blood clots, they keep the plaque in your arteries down, they decrease inflammation in your body, and they help your brain make the chemicals that make us feel good. So they're essential. And then vitamin D, I have to say, I hate to admit that an MD turned me onto this. I know, there are some good ones out there. My MD said, hey, we should test your vitamin D level. And I said, really? I'm outside all the time. I eat really well. And she's like, no, 100% of the women I've been testing have low vitamin D. And I said, okay, all right, go ahead and test me. And I turned out to be really on the low end of normal, and I started taking a supplement. But we need vitamin D. We need it for so many things. We need it for our bone density. We need it for our hormones. So it's just a very easy supplement to take, and it's almost every woman needs it right now. Yeah, I really regret eating healthy, said no one ever. So right now, I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Drwencke, who's also part of our office, and then she's a CrossFit nut, but we still love her anyway, and she's going to
lovely introduction. I do love CrossFit, I love powerlifting, it is a cult. However, when I work out, I don't look like anything like this. Usually my hair is everywhere, I'm dripping sweat, and I have this quiet look of desperation in my eyes. Which is why it's important to remember why exercise is so important to us. So I feel like this comic kind of sums up what a lot of people feel about exercise now that we do it to be skinny. But just because you're skinny doesn't necessarily mean that you're healthy. When we're exercising, we're actually conditioning all of our muscles and our nerves and our joints to work appropriately. If you don't use them, you don't get to use them for as long as you want to. And there's research to back it up. According to the Archives of Internal Medicine, if you exercise for 1 hour 3 times a week, you can add 9 years to your life, which I think is pretty awesome. The reason that is because exercise actually lights up your brain. You have a map of your body on both sides of the front part of your head, and that's where all of our higher centers of thinking occur. So every time you move or you go for a walk or you work out, you're lighting up your brain and having your brain last longer. And like Dr. Denny mentioned earlier about the telomeres, there was a study done by the National Institute of Health, and they had different groups of people. And one group of people had lifestyle interventions like physical exercise, yoga, or meditation, and they found that that group of people had increased telomeric activity in their blood, which means the caps on the shoelaces were intact, so that DNA could be intact and be transcribed some more and keep your tissues working the way they're supposed to. And it's good for the heart. Everyone knows exercise is good for the heart, but why is that? Your heart is actually a muscle, just like all the vessels in your heart are a muscle as well. So you want to train that muscle, you want to work it out. When you do physical exercise, you're pumping the blood to those main vessels and keeping them clear from blockages. But even when you just go for a walk, a 2-mile walk, you're using those smaller vessels of the heart and building those up. So if you do have a blockage in one of the main vessels and something happens, those other muscles can keep the heart alive. Here we have an 82-year-old deadlifting 153 pounds. This is actually a picture of me in the future. And I lift heavy and I lift with proper form, and I get adjusted because I want my body to last as long as possible, because when I'm 80, I want to be kicking butt. All right, how many people in here know that smoking causes wrinkles? I'm going to tell you why. So nicotine is actually a vasoconstrictor, which means it doesn't allow blood to get to the skin. So the cells don't get they don't get fed. What happens to your skin when you're on a treadmill is, you usually you flush with blood. So those cells are getting the nutrients that they need. So people who exercise have better skin. A little vanity moment there. Most of all, exercise should be fun. If you're going to wake up like myself at 5:30 in the morning to go work out, or make time during your lunch, or just any time in your day, it should be something you enjoy and that you can build upon over time. And it should be something varied. If a lot of people think getting on the treadmill is good, and if you haven't moved in a while, treadmill is great just to get yourself moving. But you want to do things that change it up so you can challenge your body to keep those joints working. And you also want to make it a habit. Working out once a month is arguably better than nothing at all. But even just starting at 2 days a week is a habit, it's a commitment, and you'll see changes from it. And lastly, you want to work on your mobility. Most of us have sedentary jobs, or some of our hobbies may be sedentary, so we don't always bring our joints through their full range of motion. So mobility is super important, and Dr. Denny is going to go more into that.
All right, really quickly, maintaining your mobility, because it's not getting to 80 years old, it's what you can do at 80 years old. By the way, I do have 2 80-year-old patients. One of them plays tennis and is the terror of the tennis club. He really is. He won't tell people how old he is, and he likes to shame them after he wins. He goes, by the way, I'm 80. And the other one was a former receptionist who she actually retired from our office many, many years ago. We were just at a party, and she has a really hard time moving around. And it's like looking at those 2 80-year-olds, I know which one I want to be. Because basically your joints age like any other body part. Okay, we see our face aging, but we don't see your body aging unless you see an x-ray, or unless you're at a chiropractic office or an orthopedic surgeon's office and you're going through all those orthopedic tests. And your back ages. That's why we don't see 65-year-old gymnasts, right? So what does that actually look like? And so this is an x-ray of the neck. This is a side view. This is a normal neck. Look at the vertebrae are nice and square. The disc spaces are nice and fat. That's a normal, healthy neck. This is a neck with arthritis. So you can see that we start to lose the disc space. You start to grow these bony spurs. They're called osteophytes. And left unabated, they just form a bridge actually right over the joint. And I've got some x-rays in my office of people like this, and they're not even that old. And they've just got one big bony bridge over the joint. And there's nothing that we really can't do too much at that point in time. It's like, no, you can't break that. It's already bone, it's grown. We're just doing damage control at that point in time. Here's the lumbar spine. So this is like the last part right here above your hip. Again, this is a healthy one. You see how nice and fat these disc spaces are, squared off vertebrae. You look in this picture and you're like, ah, man, this is ugly. This is like my nightmare. Look at these, like hardly any disc. I don't guess anybody's known somebody's had a disc herniation. Yeah, how happy were they? Right? That's almost like a subspecialty of our office. I must have treated over 100 disc herniations by this point in my career. I've actually never lost anybody to surgery, but left to the medical world, that's where it heads. It heads to surgery, where they have to clip away the piece of the disc that's out in the periphery. So you can see how much disc height is lost here. By the way, that's why people shrink too. You start to lose the fluid from your disc. The spine starts to fold forward. Shrinking is not inevitable. It's not. It's just people don't take care of their backs. So of course I'm going to talk about chiropractic because I'm a chiropractor, and that's what we do, and we're passionate about it. And this was actually a medical study on chiropractic, not done by a chiropractic school, but by a medical school. And it showed that we increase range of motion, restore normal movement of the spine, relax the muscles, improve joint coordination, and relieve pain. That's why every single professional sports team has a team chiropractor. And basically your vanity moment, I mean, how do you want to look? You know, you want to look like this when you're 50, or you want to look like this? So basically the whole gist of the presentation today was I just wanted you to think about what you're doing with your body now, because your body's like a piggy bank. It's like what you're doing to your body now, the investment that you're putting in your body now is what you're going to draw on as an older person. How well have you taken care of yourself right now from this day forward? And really, what's the alternative? Pain pills? No offense, Elaine. Work at Sutter Pharmacy. We want it anyway. But you know, opiates are like a major epidemic right now in America. It's like a huge problem. Because people are in pain, the MD wants to get them out of pain. I don't think they have any ill will or, but you know, that prescription gets to be a problem for people, and it just tears your body apart anyway. It doesn't do anything to actually fix the problem. So our gift to you today, if you're thinking, you know, I'd like to have my back checked. First of all, our gift, you see Dr. Drwencke's out there with the chair. We're doing free spine evaluations today. No obligation whatsoever. She'll just have you fill out a little form. You can get on the chair. She can feel around and see what's going on with your body. You can talk to her about anything that you want. But if you know you want to come see us, we have a great special today. Almost anything. It's usually $176.95. If you don't have insurance, that's the first 2 visits. That covers the first 2 visits. Today we're doing it for $99.95. You just have to pay for it today. Yeah, it saves you $76. We'll give you the certificate. And we'll book you get 2 appointments out of that. A really thorough physical exam, your first treatment. Okay, enough about me. I want to talk about our co-host, Krav Maga.
Yep.
And they're going to give a demonstration. I was going to say, Krav Maga, I was a student down here for 7 years, and I still train with the owner. It is the most kick-ass system of fighting I have ever seen. Or self-defense. Barney hates it when I say fighting. But self-defense. But it was developed for the Israeli military. And unlike other traditional martial arts where you have to do them a long time before you become proficient in them enough to use it in an emergency situation on the street, this stuff is so practical. And because they've developed it for the military, that you can use it after 1 class. And he's going to give you a demonstration today. So let's welcome Barney. Yikes, Barney!
All right, I'd like to thank Lonna for deciding to have the get together here today. Thank her also for that wonderful introduction. Krav Maga, as she said, is what was designed for the Israeli military. It works for everybody. It doesn't matter how big your attacker is, how small you are, you can make it work to save your life. And we're going to prove that today. I don't know where my assistant is. Oh, there she is, right there. My assistant is Sasha. She's also an instructor here. And I'm going to be her attacker, and she is going to show you how to defend against things.
I'm genuinely scared of barn catchers.
That's what you should be. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about awareness, because that's the first part of self-defense, is if you're out on the street walking around, no matter what you're doing, be aware of your surroundings, know what's going on. Don't walk with your head down.
Cell phone.
It's like, that's what the bad guys are looking for. They're looking for an easy target. You ain't got these. Smartphones. Oh, come on, I see 2 hands. All right, everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got a smartphone. There is a reason why there's a law that you can't use these things in your car. Because they are so distracting. They take away from everything else that's going on around you. It doesn't matter whether you're walking down the street or whether you're in your car. You got this thing up to your head and you're talking and you're thinking about what's going on. It's like an easy victim. It's just, here it is, come get it. About 50% of the robberies on the street in the last several years have been for these things. For these things. And it's not that it's been getting more and more people being victimized, but the brutality of the attacks is what is getting worse. People are coming up now, instead of just grabbing the phone and running, they're coming up and hitting you in the back of the head, taking the phone. The reason that they take these things is there are about 3 guys in the city here that will pay these guys almost full retail value for a used iPhone. Because they can ship them out of the country, replace the SIM card, and they get more money for them out of the country than they do here. So why would they want to take, your wallet, which might have $50 in it, when they can take your phone and go get $400 or $500 for it? Texting is even worse than talking. Yeah, I get texts and calls all the time when I'm out. What do you do? What should you do? Stop, back up to a wall or a car. That way there's nobody behind you. They can only come at you from here. Take care of whatever you got to take care of, and then move on. I know it sounds like, oh, that's a waste of my time. I'm so in such a hurry. Well, you can take care of a phone call in a matter of a couple minutes. I walk around here all the time. I tell my students all the time, don't be talking on your phones. I walk out of here and walk down the street, and every once in a while I see one of my students walking down the street, and I will wave at them. And what are they doing? They're doing this, or they got their phone in their ear. So I'll walk off to the side of them a little bit, and I'm walking towards them, and when I get about this close, I'll go, and the expression on their face is like, I just got busted. And most of the time they'll look at their phone, even if they've been talking to someone, if they're talking to someone, they'll go, I gotta call you back. And it's because, I try to make it a point of, hey, I was almost a half block away and I was waving at you and you didn't notice me. Why? Because these things take so much away from your awareness, things that are going on around you. So there's a lot of other things that you should know about walking down the street or going shopping or whatever you're doing. I'm not going to get into all of that today. We're going to keep this very short. Like I said, I'm going to show you some things that Sasha has learned how to do, or she's going to show you some of the things that she's learned how to do. We're not trained to fight. That's not what we do. We're trained for self-defense. That doesn't mean that we don't train people on where and how to hit people and what are the best weapons to use. When I say weapons, whether it's a fist or an elbow or a kick or a knee, but we also train you on where is the best place to hit people. Best place to hit people is basically anywhere that's illegal in competition. That means under the groin, into the bladder, pelvic bone, anywhere around the neck. These are your primary targets. That's where you want to hit people if you have to hit them. You know, we're not fighters. We're not out there in the ring. You know, there's no scorecard keeper. There's no referee out there. We want to end the problem as quickly as we possibly can. So if you can throw 3 or 4 strikes, do enough damage to the other person to be able to get away, perfect. Sometimes it only takes 1 strike, but we never depend on that. So, yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, a groin kick will not normally put a guy down to the ground, or a girl, either one. It will stall them for half a second, sometimes a full second. It will get a reaction like this, which then opens up all kinds of places for you to hit them again. So the first thing that Sasha's going to do here is show you how to throw a groin kick.
There you go. Yep. More? Yeah.
Good.
Wow.
And what we teach you is body mechanics. By the way, you can really good workout in front of God. If you don't have good body mechanics and you're just doing something like this, it's not going to do any good. You've got to get your hips to come forward and kick all the way up through. You're literally trying to lift the other person off the ground if you're throwing a groin kick. Bladder kick is the ball of the foot into the front of the groin. This is the most devastating kick that we teach people. People in boxing matches get hit with a fist. And they'll go down on one knee. Oh, he hit me below the belt. These are pro athletes. They have thick pads on. The guy that hit him has thick gloves on. And it's this kind of a, and they can't take it. Imagine taking the ball of your foot and inserting it into that same spot. Guy will drop to the ground, guaranteed. So we teach people how to deal with that also. So, women especially can be attacked differently, or more, I won't say differently, but more specifically than men do. One of the things, most ladies have long hair, most of us guys don't have long hair anymore. So if somebody grabs you by the hair, what do you...
There you go.
I promise you, I was not acting. She drugged me down to the ground. How did she do that? She did it by first trapping my hand to her head and bending over. When she bends over, that puts an enormous amount of stress and pain into my wrist, causes me to go down. From there, she starts to back up. When she lets go, I'm in a very vulnerable position. Kicks in my face and gets out of there.
So you're so shocked when you get there.
So it's all about learning how to react. It's not, no, there's nothing fancy that she's doing.
And I wasn't sure what was coming.
So the biggest problem with hair grabs is the same thing with any other type of grab, is that people try to resist it. So we try to train you not to resist, to go with it, and always go towards the person. So whether it's from the front or from behind, go with it. If somebody grabs you from the front this way, it could be that they're trying to take you somewhere, they're trying to pull your head down, maybe they're even trying to throw a knee into your face. Just go with it. And it's going to stop whatever action that they're trying to do to you. Sorry, I messed up.
It's okay. I come prepared. I have a hairbrush.
So there's so many different ways that people can attack you. We can't demonstrate everything today. But another way that for women is for someone to come behind them and grab them. Even from behind, there's a couple different things that can happen. Somebody can come up behind you, grab you with your arms caught. Go ahead.
Yeah.
They can get you with your arms free.
Are you stepping on his toes? Is that what you're doing when you're stamping?
Technically, I would be, but
Yeah, it's not actually stepping on my feet, but yes, that's
great.
what the stomping on the foot. We teach you the proper way to do that also. If you're going to stomp on somebody's foot, you have to flex your ankle up so that you're hitting with the point of the heel down into the top of their foot. But it's not the stomping down. We're not trying to smash people. We're hitting and getting off. Because the way the foot is structured, there's a whole bunch of muscles in there. The bones really won't break unless there's a tremendous amount of weight in compression. They break from getting your foot off fast. And when they come back up, they break. So it's all these little things that you need to know. You break bones in a guy's foot, he's going to dodge, jeez. And then you can hit him a couple more times, get out of there.
then you run faster than you get.
So it's not only the unarmed attacks that you have to worry about. I mean, people can do all kinds of things. They can grab your arm, try to drag you off somewhere. And again, notice,
I got punched right in the face.
this is a very simple thing for her to do. That's it. That's all you have to do. To get the hand off of you. It always negate the initial attack first, then decide, is this guy just a jerk or is he actually trying to grab me and drag me off somewhere? If it's just a jerk, you step back and say, okay, keep your hands off me. If it's somebody trying to drag you off somewhere, you go combat it. And then get out of there. So we teach people how to deal with all kinds of different attacks, whether it is armed or unarmed. All the unarmed attack comes first. Then we teach people how to deal with weapons.
No, I mean, I'm really used to be that careful. I remember this stuff.
So, in the case of a gun, guns are actually easier to deal with than knives. With a gun, you only have to worry about one thing. A bullet only goes in a straight line. There's no such thing as a smart bullet. It'll follow you around. So, all you have to do is get out of the line of fire, then control the weapon, deliver a few strikes, and then take the weapon away. Slow motion. Notice she's already out of the line of fire. From there, as she controls the weapon, she's striking. From there, she reaches under, breaks my grip, takes the weapon away, and now she has the weapon. And she can either use it as a gun, or she can use it as a blunt object. Or just get the hell out of there. So we teach people how to deal with all of those kind of things. For me, this is a passion. I've had the school for 17 years. I've had a few health problems come up over the years, and I was never able to take my black belt test till about 2 months ago. I finally got myself back in shape and took my black belt test, which I'm probably the oldest person to ever take a Krav Maga black belt test. My teacher, I got into Krav Maga back when it first started being promoted in the United States. This is like the third or fourth school to ever open in the United States to teach Krav Maga. My teacher is one of the top ranked instructors in the world. He's a district attorney in Los Angeles, so he has a whole unique insight to how things go on and the kind of things that happen to people on the streets. And he's also a friend of mine. When I finally went down and took my black belt test, he's been after me for 10 years to take my black belt test. And I finally went down and took my test. He did a seminar up here last month for us against edged weapons, and presented me with my black belt certificate. One of the top instructors in the world present me with my black belt certificate. Anyway, in the bags that we handed out today, we have put in there for you, what is Krav Maga? It explains a little bit more about that. Self-defense hits, so it's not just about what we talked about today, but it's about in your home, in your office, walking down the street. All those kind of things are in that sheet that we gave you. And then there's a little advertising that we did. One of the advertisements in there is about the women's only seminar that we're having next weekend. Normally we charge $249 for that, but because you were so nice to come here today, if you or your daughters or any of your family members would like to come, special offer $199. That also includes a 30-day membership, so you can come in to reinforce what you learn and learn a little bit more about Krav Maga. And if you're not interested in doing that, we will at least offer you a 1-week free pass to come in and try Krav Maga and the other things that we do here. We do TRX. We do CrossFit. We have a CrossFit box downstairs. Bag class, conditioning class, yoga, and you can come in and try all that stuff out for free for a week. Pardon? Oh yes, we have Ralston Gracie here also, who teaches Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu twice a week. So all of that is available to you. Again, thank you all for coming in. Appreciate your time.
There's the bar is open, there's food, every vendor's giving away something free, and see Dr. Drwencke for a free spine evaluation.
Hi.
There's no way.
Yes. Most of these pictures I took, or my friend, sent them to me. Krystal, mother of 5, just like me.
I have that.
I wake up tired. I don't get enough sleep. And so for me, it's taken the place of concealer. Instead of having to then look like or feel like I'm wearing makeup, it's easier to put this on. I have like a tinted SPF on because that also, this is the skin. So the night cream is what I was first introduced to about a year and a half ago. So my friends always called me like the product queen because I was going to Sephora and I was buying the 5 different things. It's the toner, the serum. So literally before bed, it was a half-hour process.
Oh my God.
It's like we were supposed to watch a movie and my husband like, okay, anytime now, anytime. And I gotta put my things on. This is one step. So you wash your face, you keep it wet, you put it on, you go to bed. Changed my life.
How much does a bottle of this
So this is 90. The night cream is 90 and the eye serum is 60. And then we only have 5 products, so that's kind of fun.
Pretty big bottle too. Like how long would that last?
So 1 month, because you definitely have to use the recommended. It's 4 to 5 pumps because you want to get enough of the product on that it really will do everything they want it to do. But even now I get my product for free. You refer friends, you get your product for free. But even $80, $90 was less than what I was spending at the
Because you just buy one instead of
Yeah. If you'd like to leave your email, I can send you a little video about the products, just so you learn more about them and the company.
What did your skin look like before surgery?
So here's the thing, people are like, oh, you've always had nice skin, but I always wore more makeup.
Yeah, sure.
I had acne when I was younger, and I had more scars, and then discoloration. After having kids, I just had, I got in the sign, it was like hormones, and I just had patches. And so I would cover it up and be like, oh yeah, I'm like, it takes me 10 minutes to get the happen. Yes, because there's good makeup out there. And so I feel, as a mom, again, everything goes back to ease for me. 1 step at night, easier to go out during the day. I'm not worried about putting cover up before I go to school to drop them off. So that's how it's changed my life. And you have everything on video now. I wonder where that's going to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to find it. For sure.
How many kids do you have?
I have two. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son.
Okay.
Busy. What was your first name?
Michelle.
Michelle. Caroline. Pleasure. Nice to meet you guys. You guys are super young too. You don't need to worry about wrinkles. But it's nice to prevent.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed, like, especially in the last, like, 3 years, like, I have stuff hair that I've just never seen before. So, yeah,
That
definitely.
starts to happen at some point,
And I
right?
have like one line, but I'm like, what is that? Like, where did that come from? It's like I didn't notice it, and all of a sudden I noticed it, and I can't unsee it. Now that I've noticed it.
It's kind of like a gray hair.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden
we have a lot of
it comes out, and like, okay, that's it. Overnight. It changes. You change overnight. But you know, you want to keep it as young for as long as you can. Yeah. And your first name was
Maya.
Maya. Okay, pleasure. It was nice to meet you both. So you've got the eye serum. I'll send you a little video so you'll know more about it, and my information's on there. Hope to hear from you guys. Take care.
You live in the city?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So your blog, tell me where would I see it and is interested? Absolutely.
I'm gonna put this in the table.
There?
Yes, we are both the co-founders.
Co-founders.
The lady here and me.
She's on.
Well, perhaps I'll see you there.
Right across from you guys. You guys were like the most popular.
Thank you.
Half and half. I do this and teach fitness classes.
Oh, you're a fitness instructor. Where?
I'm at Orange Theory Fitness. I also teach some bar classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're very pretty. You can be a model.
Oh, thank you. Did you get your fizzy stick in some water?
And so I used to wear a lot of things.
But anyway, I did the research and basically told her how to do it. My former career was actually in the chemical industry. So it was like, once I read through that, I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense, just like any other chemical.
Right.
Yeah, these I actually picked up at a farm in Gilbert.
Oh, really?
So literally, they've only been off the vine for like 2 days. So that's one of the tricks. It really is.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're on Bush Street?
Oh, we're on Taylor Street.
Taylor, okay.
Yeah, right near the Golden Gate Theater.
They're wonderful.
So people get out the theater and they buy a cookie?
Sometimes they come in and buy some chocolates and things like
Yeah?
that. 5-tier cake, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, it's covered with real Eyesite, but it's got styrofoam centers that serve as the model for the cake itself. The brim of the hat is not edible. That had to be it's a type of plastic that's FDA compliant, and I just covered that with marzipan or fondant, which is all sugar, no nuts. And then I made the flowers out of gum.
Really? No.
Yeah. Well, would you like some of these to try? I'm just packing up, but you're still here. Yeah. Feel free. These are chocolate caramels. These are chocolate covered strawberries. And then we have some chocolate cupcakes with vanilla icing. This is Jill from her.
Are the original, and these are some prints that were made from the original. These are $10 if you're interested in a card. These are copies are made from these originals right here.
Oh, wow.
So these are watercolor, hand drawn by the artist Diane Pascal.
Okay.
So if you're interested in any of them, and these are free if you want a copy of it. If you like any of these, you can have one. Help yourself if you want a copy. Strong women type of work.
Because this side's been hurting. I said, you would think me out of order, and she said, my leg is showing. When I went skiing.
So, just the ice serum for today. You want to start with that? Try. Perfect. Okay, that. So, it would be your info here. I don't know if you have a business card or something that you prefer. Wow. Yeah. What have you been doing up until now?
I actually took the law, so I'm in all those laws, and then I did that, and I've done that. Now I'm doing fingerprinting, and I just did braces.
Oh my God. Wow, I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger.
You can still be a lawyer.
Oh my gosh, that would be an interesting path. I went into modeling instead, and then I found anti-aging. But that's amazing. Good for you. Do you do that here in San Francisco?
Actually, I'm going to school right now, and then so I'm not going to. So we would do.
Can you do that here? Like, is there? Okay.
And then I see that's a little message for you.
And we can ship there, right? That's the ship address as well?
And he's not a man, he's a man, he's a boy. I know him.
I mean, honestly, I didn't work with the man. I know it's a challenge.
If you are familiar with it, and my number is on there, get one of these too taken so you have more to use tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
But let's do your other eye before you go. How about that? Because you don't want to go. I need to take a picture because this is actually really great comparison. No smile. I love your smile. Fun. If you're gonna go out, there was something I want you to go out with both eyes. Well, there you go. No, go ahead.
It's a chuckle, but
It's a chuckle, but
You're not a good partner. I'm so happy you tried it. I think this is a much safer, less risky, much less expensive than the surgery route. Well, pleasure to meet you. It will probably get to you by the end of the week because it ships out Monday. But you took my little heart and my number for anything you need. I'll be in touch. Thank you. How are you being my little organizer? Oh my gosh. Organizer, so I have some. And so this is your business and you work with people with their homes and businesses?
yeah, so I just try to big things like
Yeah.
I want to actually some organics with it.
Yeah, some coaching. Amazing. How long have you been doing this?
For 11 years now.
It's not just the instant result, it also is going to prevent a lot of people are like, oh, well, it helps every morning, but then it's also going to like all pizza. And it's all plant-based, as you know. little trick with that. Use half of it around one eye. Wait 5 to 10 minutes and look at your eyes. It'll be fun for you to see how it's working for you. So yeah, this is the before. Well, actually, it's both. But because I'm giving the testers, I recommend try. Yeah. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the little treat. Ciao, ciao. Gara. From Modern Family, right? She's a Colombian actress, I think. She's Spanish. Yeah. Really great to meet you. So cute. Close picture on and I'll show you the mirror. Put it as close as you can. And you're going to pat and go back and forth for about 30 seconds. Try to keep like low expression for your like you're super young. Even youngsters sometimes wake up tired, don't do this eye yet because I want you to compare. So let you sit for a little bit. Let me see this one. Tap a little bit more. And we'll let you be for a little bit and we'll see if it makes any difference. What was your name? Caroline. Nice to meet you. Yeah. If you'd like to leave your email, I can send you a little video.
Oh, I like video.
Just a little, so you know a little bit more about the product. It's all plant-based, so there's no chemicals.
Crazy laugh lines, yeah. I laugh a lot.
I totally do. I mean, hey, I'd rather, I guess, have smile lines than frown lines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's
where are you from?
Yes.
I love organizing. It's amazing. I want to help people clear the clutter from their life and live in a more balanced way.
Okay, sounds
I'm
good.
Nancy Castelli. I'm an organizer.
Okay. No, what age did you get it?
Oh, what age? 66.
9.
Yes.
amazing.